again, everybody. In this video I want to show you how I painted this chandelier with just an iTunes card. So here I painted it on just some mixed media paper. It's nothing special. And this I painted it on the canvas, and you can definitely see that there's different texture because I didn't sand this or gesso it or anything. So you can see that it skips a little bit on the canvas, but it still totally works, and you can see this here, it's a little bit smoother. So I'm going to show you how to paint it on paper, and it works the same way on canvas. You just have to accept that it's going to look a little bit different, and it's going to be just skipping, and just some of it, the paint doesn't move as smoothly, but it's still actually, the effect works really great. I have a paper plate for my palette just because when I film videos, it's easier for me to have a styrofoam plate to put my paint on, and then I just recycle these. I just wash them out, and so I don't throw away a styrofoam plate every single time. I have like a whole bunch of, a stack, like literally a stack like this high of styrofoam plates that I just reuse and over and over again for my classes and everything. So you're going to want to, I guess I felt the need to justify using styrofoam. You're going to want to cut this up in a few different ways. So I have one that's like a little bit longer edge, and then I wanted some shorter edges. We also use the curve edges, so just keep that in mind. And then I have some gold metallic paint, and this is not expensive paint. I just use like, this is Artist Loft. This is black, and this is Folk Art gold metallic paint, but you can use any kind of metallic paint, any kind of paint you want. It doesn't need to be heavy body. And so I just kind of figure out where I want my chandelier. So starting about here, ending about here, and then about halfway is where the candles kind of are. You don't need to measure too much, and I don't want it to get to, I have a tendency to get it really wide, and I don't want to get it too wide, so I'm just putting these lines in here as just some guidelines for myself. And then I'm just gonna start by putting a few of these in here, and try not to be exact. You know, they're just kind of wherever. If you try to be exact and then you don't pull it off, then it'll be really obvious. Where if you don't try to be exact and you don't pull it off, it'll be fine. So, and remember, there's going to be some that you would see behind there. I didn't fill this in. You could fill it in even more if you wanted. So there's different, whatever. There's different ones all throughout there. And then the idea with this is, because I love chandeliers, the reason why I love chandeliers and the look of them and paintings of them is because they just have these like delicate details, and it's like, well, how am I mean, you could paint it exactly, but we don't have time for that, and I'm too impatient. I want a chandelier now. So what I do is I just kind of move my pencil around just in like odd ways, whatever, and then I just do a few like recognizable shapes. I'm just gonna put that's too long probably, so I'm gonna put another one right here. And then just as long as you kind of see how this is like the same kind of shape, and then you go like that. So as long as you have a few that are symmetrical, a few spots along here that are symmetrical, then the brain will fill in the rest, and you don't need to be exact with like all this stuff. And you could do this with just paint too, but I'm showing you in pencil for those of you who want to just plan a little bit, and I kind of like to just have a little bit of an idea of what I'm doing. Whoops. So just try to have some of those symmetrical a nice long thing there. And now we've got that, and we'll just go down. This one is a lot more detailed than the other one I did. Well, I'm trying to make it a little bit darker, and so that you can see it on camera, and so automatically as soon as I push darker, then I start putting in more details. So whatever, it is what it is. I don't want all those pencil marks to show though. It's going to be kind of a very loose iTunes impasto painting. And then you just have these, and you can just kind of throw them on, whatever you want. And I mean, you can make any design you want. You don't have to put little things in here like this. I'm just gonna, I don't even know if this is, yeah. And I try to just add in details when I paint, so whatever. And then this is just a guideline, so I don't even need to fill in anything there. Just try to have it kind of a few key ones just at the same place. Like you want this one kind of, these ones kind of equal, and then the rest you can kind of fill in. And I'm just going to give myself a few guidelines for, this is a little bit too low for me. I think I need to have one here instead. Yeah, that's better. So just some very light lines for these. And I actually like it if I have a thing that I can go through. Just gives it a little bit of dimension. So I want that to stick out so that I can go through there. And these, you don't really need to worry about leading up to anything. This has to be wider because it's holding up the entire contraption here. So I have two here. I should probably put in another one kind of coming along the back here. I'm gonna put one in right there. All right, so that's all you do, and I did a lot more than I did on that one. On this one it's a lot less detailed. And then you're going to, let's take this out of here. So I'm going to move that out of the way so that we can kind of, you can kind of see how I'm doing this, because just like impasto painting with a knife, with a painting knife, you kind of, it's the same idea with an iTunes card. You just want to have a little bit on your card. Like, it depends what kind of effect you want. You might want a lot. You might want a lot on your card, and you might want just a tiny little bit. So we're going to start with, what are we going to start with? Okay, so I'm going to take this. You can see how it's just a little bit, it's not a complete point there. So I'm going to take that, and I am going to take my black, and I'm just going to, I want a little bit of a blob, but not too much. And remember, this is just a loose. You don't need to worry about things being exact. You're just going to start, well, that's not enough. You're just going to start going across like this, holding it either like this or like this, so that there's more of a, and if you need more paint, and we're going to go in more, and then I just kind of get some of these in there, and you really have to just free your mind to not be specific. If you start getting specific, it's not going to work. So, and I just go along the one side. I kind of leave this side alone. You could do this side if you want and leave this side alone, but this is just what I do. And I just kind of go along here, and I just make sure that I get some of those spots obvious, so that the eye will pick up on those and fill in the rest. So I don't need to worry about this section in here, but some of these, like these round things and then these pointy things, I just put a couple of those in across from each other, and you're good to go. And we'll turn that over. I mean, you could just do a plain chain, but that's boring, and what's the point of drawing a chandelier if you're just going to do it a plain chain? Plain chain. That's like plain Janelle. No, that's not right. Plain Jane. Plain chain is like plain Jane. And the reason why I said Janelle is because my name's Janelle and I get called Plain Jane as a nickname, or not plain, but just Jane. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now. This is lame. Okay. And I just put a few stripes across there just to show that it's like curved. And I'm going to actually mess that up a little bit because I had that straight and I don't really want it completely straight. And I'll put a nice long... Just every once in a while, make sure you're not working at an angle. Like I tend to have my paper like this, and then I forget. So just every once in a while, check on that if you're like me. And then I'm just going to, I'm still using this same, just very short edge. It's not a complete corner, but it's almost a corner. And then you can put a little drop, like a little crystal at the bottom if you want. The reason why I like this card is because it automatically put some white spots in there and put some shadows and highlights in there. You don't even have to work at it. I forgot this thing right here, so just gonna... Okay, and then I'm just gonna put those in there. Try not to be too specific. Don't worry about measuring things out perfectly. And I'm just going to put some like faded ones in there. They just kind of stick out a little bit. Okay, let's do these. And when I think of chandeliers, I think of like kind of lower type lighting, you know, like the nice warm lighting. So that's why I add gold, but you know, you can add a different color, you can add whatever. And I'm just putting in a little bit just along the edges here, but I'm still kind of leaving that alone. We are going to do some stuff on there, but I'm just going to leave it for now because I'm not quite ready to go in there yet. And this, I just need some more obvious black across there, but my card does not want to, there we go. There, okay. Now, I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use the corner, and I'm just going to start getting a dot on there, and I'm just going to, careful, because if you have a big blob, you don't even want to completely touch it to the paper, depending on how big your blob of paint is. Try to keep these well, that's, you don't want that. Try to I'm going to try using the blunt or the rounded corner. Try not to make them all the same like that. You want some of them, you want them different shapes. But you don't want all of these circles the same, because then you lose the character of the piece. Now if you can, try to get like a nice rounded thing, which I'm doing a terrible job of. I had a really good one that I was using before. There we go. Yeah, this corner just works better. Yep. So I kind of just put it on the corner, and then I kind of put the corner a little bit flat. The flatter you put it, the bigger you'll get of that. If you just touch it to the paper, just the very end. So it all depends on how you hold the card. You can hold it upright or you can hold it a little bit flat. and just experiment and you'll get the idea for it. It doesn't take long before you get the idea of how to work with this kind of style, like either with a painting knife or with an iTunes card. I've taught a lot of classes on this, and everyone at first, when they first start using their painting knife or whatever, they're just like, oh, they don't know how to do it. And then after a few, like, just whatever, they get the idea and they just figure out how to hold it so that it works for them. Now, it's good for some of these to be a little bit bigger and not like some of them, they don't really show up very much at all, because if you're in a low lighting situation, you're not going to see all of these perfectly. So try not to think that they need to be perfect. I don't know if I'm going to add any in the background. I feel like I should. Just maybe a hint of a few of them. I don't want it to look like, you know, whatever. Okay, so I think that's good for the black for now. We might go in a little bit later. Oh, no, it's not. I totally forgot. We need to do the candles. So find an edge that's the right height. I think this one's a little bit short. Yeah, I'm going to use this one. And try not to get black paint. Normally I would have a background on here, so it wouldn't matter if I got some paint there anyway, but if you want to keep your background completely white, I suggest you don't do like me and put your hand in the paint. And then, so I just have a little bit on here, and you can test it out and just see if it's all across there. You know, that's a good amount. You don't want too big of a blob. And you're just going to go across and just going to pull it a little bit. Can you see that? That one's a little bit. So try to stagger these so that you don't have one candle right on top of the other, because that's annoying. Okay, so I don't have, it's just on one part of my card here, which is annoying. And this automatically gives highlights to the candles. And hopefully you can get a little bit of an edge on the side there, and it can look like wax dripping, like you can see on this one here. I have like these black edges, so that's kind of what you're going for. So you're going to scrape and then lift. And you can do a few test ones off to the side if you want. Okay, so that's probably good there. Now I want to take just a little bit of a different size edge because I don't want everything to be the same. So I'm going to take this one and I'm just going to put it in my, and I just want a very, oof, that's not enough. I took too much off. Subtle bottom here. Oh, look at that. That did not work. That's okay though. So you just want to touch it. You don't want to move it at all. You just want to touch it. So it gives, it's going to be the things that come from the bottom of the chandelier. There. Okay, now I'm going to wipe these edges off with the black so that they don't mix too bad in with the gold. So now take, I'm going to take this edge right here and I'm just going to go in with my gold. No, I'm going to use this edge, I think. So I just dip it in the gold, maybe dip it and then touch it to my plate to get some of it off because I don't want, I'm not sure how much is on there. So you might just want to go across because you don't want like a whole, you don't want to cover up the black. The gold is just like little glints, right? And if you get too much blob, just go right through it and it'll come right off. So I'm going to just keep going like this. That one's behind there, so I gotta try to... what else do I got there? I don't know. Okay, and then I'm gonna go in here. Ugh, of course I used too much. Just use the edge there and move it around a little bit. And I am just kind of putting it in spots here and there. I'm not trying to do any kind of design. I'm just touching it, maybe do some little scribbles with it. That's all you want to do. In the rounder spots, I kind of like to swipe it over to the side so it looks like it's turning, like there. This would be a good spot to put it in so you can see there. I just did more of a action with it. But in these spots, I just scribble around with it. And definitely down here, scribble. And then this, you could do a little bit of a, more of a thing if you want. You could even just do like a big blob, but I don't think I want to, so I'm going to pick that up, get rid of this paint, and just, there we go. And then I'm going to go through this. I definitely want some gold on here. And I'm gonna need to go in with the black, but back in with the black, but just before we do that. Now with these, I just touch a few here and there because they're not all catching the light. And if they were all gold, I think it would be too much. So I just kind of touch it, and you just want like a little bit. You don't even want to cover up all the black. So I'm still using the same edge that I started with on this gold. Like the same edge here. It's that one that's just like got a tiny little straight edge. It's not quite a corner, but almost. Okay, now I'm going to switch. And I'm going to go back to the same one that I used on the candle here. And I'm just going to dip this in. Make sure I don't have too much. So I just dip it in, tap it off. And you pretty much just touch it. Yeah, I'm doing too much of a movement here. Well, it's okay actually. Yeah, so that looks good. And then, I don't know, you can go in here if you want. Maybe just a couple. So we're almost done. One thing I forgot was these black things. So we're going to go back in with the black and just do a few things that we need to add. Now that we're seeing where, I thought I had a smaller one somewhere. I did, but I lost it. So I want to go in and just add a little bit to some of these sides here. And maybe even outline this just a little bit so it's not pencil. So you're using it like you would a paintbrush, except it's very stiff. Just gonna go in and just add a little bit more black in some of these places. And then I'm just gonna do a little with this edge. So all I'm doing is kind of making a little teardrop. Where am I here? I don't even know where the edge of that is. Oh, we do have one more thing to do with the gold. It's the flame. Okay. All right, so now use this, what did I use? This might be too big. So use the same very short edge here that I just was using. Dip it in the gold, like that, and you're going to do this kind of action with it. So you're going to just do that. So you're going to put it down and then just do like a little upwards S. And that's how you do the flames. This one is making two. I'm not sure why. And then I'm just going to scribble in some crystals down here. I'm literally scribbling along there. Just make sure you don't have too much when you do this. And then we are almost done. If you want to go back and you feel like, okay, I've got a little bit too much gold there, I'm going to just put a little thing there. Just add a little, ooh, yeah, like that. Just add some touches just to bring out that. This needs to come over more. Now I'm being picky, which is exactly what you're not supposed to do on this. So this is, yeah, this is when you're done and you keep working, but you're done. So there you go. That is how to paint a chandelier with an iTunes card. So go ahead and try it and experiment with different designs. You know, you don't have to, this is just one design. And you could do this on a painted background. You do this on a canvas. Yeah, go ahead and try it out, see what you think.